Greetings, friend. I'll show you my top 5 Sudoku tips and tricks from solving hundreds of championship Sudokus that will help you when you get stuck on puzzles like this. Click below if you want to give this puzzle a go. And with that, it's solving time. Let's look for the ones. You got a 1 here in row 1 and 1 in row 2. The only place a 1 can go in block 3 here is right there. And that'll lead me up to my first tip, which is you want to look for single candidate restrictions. And this is a great place to start. It's going to help you get those easy solves out of the way and show you where to focus. So let's look at the 2s. You may notice that because of this 2, there are no 2s available here in row 3 in block 2. And in this 2, there's only going to be 2 places a 2 can go along row 3. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark those 2s using Snyder notation. There's something special about these 2s here, right? Snyder notation is whenever you have 2 possibilities for a candidate in a Sudoku block, and you mark it, and in case you solve one of these cells, you solve the other right away. The reason I marked these 2s is because they're the only 2s available in row 3, so that means they're called a claiming pair, and a 2 can't be anywhere else now in block 1, because if you try to put a 2 up here, then you'd have no place to put a 2 across row 3 there. Okay, so that was what we could do with the 2s. And if you look where the 3s are, you can't make any solves or any Snyder notation marks. Look at the 4s, and we can do a few things here with the 4s. You may notice with these 2 4s and this 4, you can solve for 4 in block 4. And then with this 4 and this 4, we have something interesting going on here. Not just Snyder 4s, but they are a pointing pair. Whenever you have this situation, you got this Snyder plus just one other of the cell, the 4 in this case, that's in this 3 by 3 band, you have a pointing pair. And what it means is that a 4 cannot be anywhere else outside of the block in column 9. Because if you try to put a 4 up here, you'd have no place to put a 4 in block 9. All right, and that's part of my second tip. So the second tip is you're going to use Snyder notation for pointing and claiming pairs. I just showed you a claiming pair and a pointing pair. And this is like an extension of looking for hidden singles. So now you can use these Snyder notation marks to help you do that. Because what this does with the 4 is that 4 and this 4 and the 4 in row 1, there's only one place we can put a 4 now in block 3, which is right there. And now you move on with the 5s. We have 2 5s, but we can't make any solves there. Look at the 6s, there's only one 6, can't do anything there. But with the 7s, we have some solves we can make. With these 2 7s, there's only one place to put a 7 in block 7. And then you might notice now you can put Snyder 7s right here. And this 7 and this 7, you can actually solve for 7 here in block 2. And then you have Snyder 7s right there. With these 2 7s, you can solve for 7 right here in block 6. And now you have Snyder 7s in block 5. Okay, look at the 8s. These 2 8s, you probably noticed that the setter of this puzzle from Germany put a lot of these situations here with like the 8s and the 7s and the 4 and the 1s where you can make these quick solves here in these blocks. So you can put an 8 right there. And then what else we can do with the 8s is with this 8 and this 8, you have a pointing pair of 8s in block 1. So 8s can't be here anymore. So it just allows the 8s to be in these 2 spots in block 7. And then if you look up here in block 2, with this 8 cutting across, you have another pointing pair of 8s in block 2. So with those 8s and these 2 8s, you can put Snyder 8s in block 5. All right, what can we do with the 9s? With these 2 9s right here in row 7 and 9, you can solve for a 9 right there in block 8. And then with this 9, you might notice you have a pointing pair of 9s in block 6. Go along with this 9, you can actually solve for a 9 up here in block 3. And then with these 2 9s, you have Snyder 9s in block 1. And then I'm going to lead up to my third tip. You might be tempted right now to start marking cells because we kind of went through all the digits 1 through 9. But you start marking cells, you start looking for harder strategies right now, it's very time consuming, and you're going to just clutter up the board, make it a little bit more complicated than you need to be. So my third tip, just go through the digits again, especially if you made some solves as you went along, and see if you can find some of that low-hanging fruit, the easier solves. So we're going to minimize our marking by just checking again for the easier solves. And so what you might see here is with this one coming down, we actually can put Snyder ones right here. And this is awesome. Whenever you see this situation, Snyder notation is doing double duty. Not only is it Snyder notation, but it's actually, you found with this Snyder on top of each other with this 1-9 is a hidden pair. There's a hidden pair 1-9. What it means is since the 1 and 9 have to be somewhere here in block 6 and they're restricted to the same two cells, no other digits can be in there. So you can block out everything else right there. And that 1-9 is going to help us make a nice solve right here now, right? And the reason why is because you can now figure out what's in these three cells. You have a 2, 3, and a 6. This can't be a 3. That can't be a 2. And so you have hidden pair right here. This is actually now a locked triple and a naked triple of 2, 3, 6. So the only thing left up here, the only digit that you don't have in this column is a 5. And that's part of my tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to look for these hidden pairs. And before I move on, I want to hear from you. Did you spot this 1-9 hidden pair? Please, please, please let me know in the comments. Or did you find some other way to solve this 5? You could have maybe done the 5 and this 5 and done a pointing pair of 5s. I want to know. Help me grow the best Sudoku community on YouTube. It starts with your comments. Okay, what can we do with this though, right? We just found this hidden pair. Can we do more solving? And yes, of course. In fact, you can find a couple more hidden pairs here. You might notice with this 7 and this 1, the 1s are now restricting the same cell as the 7s in block 4. So that's another hidden pair, which allows you to have another locked triple, 5, 6, 9 here in column 3. Okay, it's locked because it's the 5, 6, 9 here in column 3 and in block 4. Whenever it fills 2 houses, then you have a locked candidates. And so we got the 5, 6, 9 there. And what's that going to do? This locked triple acts as a pointing triple. Since the 5, 6, 9 have to be in these 3 cells, this cell can no longer be a 9. And so you can actually displace that Snyder 9 and solve for a 9 right there. Then remove the markings, the coloring right there, and we can make a little bit more solving. But I do cover naked triples and all the other strategies that you're seeing here in this video in my Sudoku solving guide. You can download for free from the pinned comment below. I just have one more tip that's going to help you the next time we get stuck. But let's see first how far we can get before I reveal it. How far are you going to get before you get stuck and need that last 5th tip that's going to reduce your solve time. Okay, let's look at this 2, and you notice you can solve for a 2 right there, which gives you a 3, 6 naked pair. Okay, and then you have another hidden pair we can find. You might notice the 4 cutting across and the 8 cutting across row 7. Where can they go here in block 8? They only can go in these 2 spots. So that's another hidden pair 4, 8, which leaves us with a 1, 2, 3 in these 3 cells. But if you notice this 1 and 2 right there, you can actually solve that for a 3 and solve these 2 cells for a 1 and a 2. And that's going to restrict what's remaining in row 7. You need a 5 and a 6. Well, with this 5, that's got to be your 5. That's got to be your 6. And we can actually finish solving all of these cells down here with the information we have. Because if you remember, this 4, 8 is a hidden pair, but it also acts as a pointing pair. A 4 and 8 cannot be anywhere else along row 9. So this cannot be a 4 anymore. You can solve that cell now for a 4. And with this 1, 9 right here, all you have left is a 3 and a 6 in column 9. And since there's a 6 right here, this is going to give us a 3 in the corner, bum, bum, bum. And then you can solve for the 6 and the 3 there. What you have left here is a 1 and a 2. And these 8s act as a pointing pair right here. So this can't be an 8 anymore. So that means that has to be the 8. And then if you look across actually, if you look up here, we can actually solve the rest of the cells. Well, 2 more cells here in column 3. Because now you just need a 2 and a 3. Got my 3 right there, so this is going to be your 2, and that's going to be your 3, displacing that Snyder 2. Look across row 8, you have 6 digits filled out, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which you need a 1, 2, and a 3. I'm going to use my neat naked triple trick to solve all 3 of these. You have a 2 and a 3 looking in column 2, and a 2 repeated. When you have that situation, you can solve all 3. I call it my neat naked triple trick, because you know this has to be the one. Only place the 2 goes right there, and this is going to be your 3. Awesome. Now with this 2, you can solve that for a 1. And you just have a nice 5, 6 down there. Okay, can we do a little bit better then? Yep, because of this one, now you have a 7 and a 1 right there. And this 7 is going to displace that Snyder 7 and allow you to solve for a 7 right here. I'm going to show you another little trick. You might notice in column 1, we only have 2 cells remaining. And it's just going to be a 5 or a 6 because you got everything else filled out in column 1. I call this my right angle trick. Because you have a 5 right here, you're going to be able to solve these 2 blue cells and this cell right there. Because that's a 5, this has to be the 6, which means this is going to be the 5, and that's going to be your 6. All right, it's the right angle trick. And you can learn more about my neat naked triple trick and the right angle trick in this tutorial. It's going to help us do a little bit more solving, though. But we are going to get a little stuck. You're going to need my 5th tip to completely finish this puzzle. So what we need right now is, looks like you have a 5 or an 8 here in block 1. That 5 is going to allow you to solve this for a 5, solve that for an 8, which will allow you to displace the Snyder 8. So you can solve for an 8 right there, and then this cell is going to be a 3. Awesome. And then with this 7 here, you can solve that cell for a 7, displacing the Snyder 8. And now we're up to the point for my 5th and final tip. Like, you can take this 8 and you can solve for 4 and an 8 right there, but then you're going to have a little bit of trouble finding the next place to solve. And so my 5th tip is you got to know when to switch between hidden and naked singles. The next solve you make here has to be a naked single. It means there's only a cell that has just one possibility. So where do you look? Where do you want to find those naked singles? And the key is you want to look in what I call the heavy houses. So those are the houses that have most of the digits filled out, 5 or more. You could actually trim this down a little bit more because of that 1. You got a 9 here and a 1 right there. But now that just leaves you with 3 digits in row 5. So that's a good place to look. And sure enough, if you look right here, you need a 3, 5, and a 6. This cell right here actually is going to be a naked single. The other good place to look would be in column 4. You got a 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. You need a 4, 5, or 6. So only 3 missing digits. And sure enough, we're going to be able to find a naked single right here. So this is the trick. If you keep just searching around, you're going to have a little problem. So look for those heavy houses when you get near the end. And that's where you're probably going to find those naked singles. Because this cell right here has a 3 and a 6 right there. So you know you can solve this for a 5. And then this cell, you have the 4 and the 5 right there. So you know you can solve this cell for a 6. And this is going to make your solving so much easier as we move forward. Because now you know that's got to be your 9. And with this 5, that's got to be a 6. That's got to be a 5. Okay, can we continue on with our solving here? And you might see with these 2 6s, you can solve for a 6 right there, a 3 here, a 2 right there. Okay, looking good. Now we only have 2 possibilities here in row 4. So that's where I want to focus next. We need a 1 and a 3. I'm going to pull that 3 down from block 2. So that's a 3, that's a 1. Disambiguate the 2 and the 1. Always try to get rid of those marks when you can. And now you'll notice with these 2s, you can solve for a 2 right there. You have a 4 and a 9 left. I'm going to pull that 9 up from block 8. So there's your 9, there's your 4. Look at the last digit you just solved. Can you put it in the next block? Sure can. These 2 4s, that's going to be your 4. And so all we have left is a 5 and a 6. See my 5 right there? There's your 5, and our last digit is a 6. Now apply the expert tips and tricks you just learned to this next championship puzzle. Thank you so much for watching.